Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz, your one-stop shop to bring you all the latest from the world of sports. In the next half an hour, we're going to bring you all the latest from the world of cricket, soccer and a lot more. First up, let's quickly begin with top headlines of the hour. ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup Trophy Tour kicks off in New York. New York's Empire State Building lit up in official tournament colours of the Cricket World Cup that begins from the 1st of June in USA and the West Indies. In Women's Champions League, 8-time winners Lyon defeat Benfica to progress in semi-finals. On the other hand, Chelsea eased through a 3-0 victory to close in on a second straight appearance in last four of Europe's top competition. And Ace Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen firms up his Olympic qualification race as he climbs 5 places to make it to world number 13 in latest PWF rankings. The iconic Empire State Building lights up as the countdown to T20 Cricket World Cup begins in New York. Well, two-time T20 Cricket World Cup champion Chris Gayle and USA bowler Ali Khan lit up the Empire State Building in New York to launch the trophy tour for the upcoming tournament. Here's a report.
The ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 Trophy Tour has officially been launched at New York's Empire State Building, with two-time champion Chris Gayle and USA star Ali Khan lighting up the iconic skyscraper. The universe boss, Chris Gayle himself, had the honor of pulling the lever down to light up New York's most iconic building.
Sorry, I don't like cameras, so don't.
The out-of-the-world trophy tour will reach 15 countries across 4 continents, visiting iconic sporting teams and stadia, famous landmarks and legendary cricketers and much more. The event marks the first time an ICC World Cup will be held in US. The 9th edition of Men's T20 World Cup begins on 1st June 2024 and will be played across the USA and West Indies.
Who's going to win this?
Oh, West Indies.
No, what?
Sports Desk, DD India.
The Afghanistan Cricket Board expressed their disappointment over Cricket Australia's decision to postpone yet another bilateral series against Afghanistan and also reiterated its stance on neutral and politics-free cricket across the globe. Cricket Australia on Tuesday had announced the postponement of the series, saying it would continue to engage with the Afghanistan Cricket Board in anticipation of improved conditions for women and girls in the country. In a statement, Afghanistan Cricket Board said, and I quote their statement here, ACB advocates for keeping cricket distinct from political influence, considering the game's significance in Afghanistan and its connection to the happiness and joy of the Afghan nation. ACB acknowledges the pressures faced by Cricket Australia from the Australian government and emphasises on the importance of addressing such issues through collaborative efforts between the two cricket boards. The ACB also urges the Australian government not to impose its policies on cricket boards and instead focus on supporting the development of cricket across regions, unquote. Moving on, the International Cricket Council on Tuesday suspended the Sri Lanka all-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga from 2 test matches against Bangladesh. Hasaranga, who had retired from tests in the month of August last year, was named in Sri Lanka's 17-man squad for the 2 test series against Bangladesh starting on Friday. But the ICC informed that the 26-year-old has breached the threshold of 8 demerit points that pursuant to Article 7.6 of the code. So the ICC said that the incident happened in the 37th over when the right-arm spinner snatched his cap from one of the on-field umpires and also ridiculed the umpires in the contest. However, Hasaranga could be available for initial few games for Sunrisers Hyderabad in Indian Premier League. Staying on cricket, Rishabh Pant will lead Delhi Capitals in the upcoming season of Indian Premier League as he gets ready to return to action after 14 months of injury. Delhi co-owner Parth Jindal confirmed this on Tuesday that Rishabh will be taking over from David Warner, who led them last season. Delhi Capitals will start their IPL season on Saturday against Punjab Kings. After missing the entire season with both Delhi Capitals and Indian national team, Rishabh Pant returned to training ahead of the upcoming season of IPL. Rishabh Pant has not been in action since December 2022 when he was seriously injured in a near-fatal accident in India's Roorkee. Indian Premier League franchisee Royal Challengers Bangalore have changed its name to Royal Challengers Bengaluru on the eve of 2024 edition of the cash-rich tournament. RCB's women team captain Smriti Mandhana, men's team skipper Faf du Plessis and star batter Virat Kohli unveiled the new name in front of a packed house at RCB's home venue in the city of Bengaluru. RCB kicks off its IPL campaign in Chennai on the 22nd of March against Chennai Super Kings. Former West Indies captain Chris Gayle said fast bowling sensation Shamar Joseph should be fast-tracked into the West Indies squad for the home T20 World Cup scheduled to take place in the month of June. Joseph burst onto the scene in his debut series in Australia earlier this year, grabbing a 5-wicket haul in his maiden test in Adelaide. He followed that up with a magical display in Brisbane, where bowling with a broken toe, the pacer claimed 7 for 68 to help West Indies record their first test victory in Australia in 27 years. The 24-year-old has played only 2 domestic T20 matches, but Chris Gayle says West Indies need Joseph's firepower at the Cricket World Cup. The World Cup will be played in West Indies and the United States between 1st till the 29th of June. On to badminton now. India's Lakshya Sen on Tuesday jumped 5 places to reach world number 13 in the latest BWF rankings following his impressive run at the All England Championships. The 22-year-old from Almora had reached the semi-finals in Birmingham and his efforts saw him improve to world number 12 from the 15th spot a week back in the Olympic Games qualification. Lakshya Sen had made his career best ranking of world number 6 in November 2022 but saw his ranking plummet to world number 25 in April last year. The top 16 in the world by the April end will make the cut for the Paris Olympics. Two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will start her campaign in the Swiss Open badminton tournament from today onwards. The 28-year-old will face Pi Shokwang of Thailand in the first round of the tournament. Meanwhile, in men's singles category, India's Lakshya Sen will start his campaign against Long Chun Wow of Malaysia. Staying on badminton, India's shuttler Trisa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand moved to the women's doubles second round of the Swiss Open Super 300 after straight games victory over USA's Annie Shu and Kerik Shu. Trisa and Gayatri each passed American duo in 39 minutes with a 21-15, 21-12 victory in the opening round. Though they had made a first-round exit at the All England Open last week. However, the other 3 Indian pairs competing in women's doubles main draw lost their opening matches. Moving on to the courts of tennis now. Sumit Nagal failed to make the main draw of Miami Open after losing his final qualifying round match to Hong Kong's Coleman Wong on Tuesday. Nagal lost by 6-3 and 1-6. 5-7 to the 19-year-old, squandering the advantage he secured by winning the first set. Nagal had broken into the world's top 100 last month after winning the Chennai Open. He also won the tiebreaker in the first set after saving a break point in the 7th game, while he dominated the second set, breaking Diallo in the first and 7th game. Now he's likely to reach a new career high ranking of world number 92 also. Staying on tennis, Paula Badosa spoiled Simona Halep's return from a doping ban, fighting back to claim a gritty 1-6, 6-4 and 6-3 victory to move into the second round of the Miami Open and set up what is sure to be an emotional packed match with Arina Sabalenka. Halep had been the player in the spotlight coming into Miami after accepting a wild card when her 4-year suspension was cut to 9 months by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. But the focus quickly shifted to Sri Lanka after the world number 2's longtime boyfriend, Belarusian former pro ice hockey player Konstantin Kolstov, passed away in what police said on Tuesday was an apparent suicide. Playing her first match since the first-round loss at the 2022 US Open, Halep displayed few signs of rust against the 80th-ranked Spaniard in a rampaging opening set that saw her break a misfiring Badosa 3 times. But 18 months away from competition was always going to exact a toll on her. Moving on in sports buzz, now let's quickly get you updates from the world of soccer. The organisers of the 2030 Football World Cup, Morocco, Spain and Portugal, unveiled the logo for the tournament at an event in Portugal. FIFA announced last October that the 3 nations would co-host the 2030 Football World Cup with Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay, hosting the first 3 matches to mark the tournament's centenary. The inaugural World Cup in 1930 was held in Uruguay and won by the hosts after they defeated Argentina in the final in Montevideo. The presidents of all 3 football federations shared their common aim to organize a World Cup that will remain in everyone's memory.
Three countries, 2 continents, a single ambition: to organize a World Cup that will remain in everyone's memory. A World Cup that history will remember not only for being the best ever, but for being the one that defined new standards for the future of the competition.
Our goal is one, which is organizing the best World Cup in the history of FIFA and in the history of football. Our goal is one, to create a unique event with the participation of any and every athlete, blending human and cultural aspects.
Today we go hand in hand with 2 neighboring countries with which we want to build a championship of the world of several generations, because we want to mark the future with a unique World Cup. A competition with modern, iconic stadiums in the 3 countries that will offer the best conditions both for the game and for the fans who come to experience and enjoy it.
Staying on soccer, the Premier League club said Manchester City will face Celtic, AC Milan, Barcelona and Chelsea in their 2024 pre-season tour to the United States in the month of July. City, who are 3rd in the league standings and aiming to repeat the treble, will kick off their preparations for the new campaign against Scottish Premiership side Celtic on the 23rd of July before making Serie A's Milan at the Yankee Stadium 4 days later. They will then travel to Florida to take on manager Pep Guardiola's former club Barcelona on the 30th of July and end the 4-match tour with a game against Chelsea on the 3rd of August. Man City returns to the US following their 2022 pre-season visit. Germany midfielder Toni Kroos, who has returned to the national team after a 3-year international retirement, said that he had now agreed to rejoin the squad because he believed he could help Germany succeed at the Euro 2024. The 34-year-old, a 2014 World Cup winner with 106 caps, announced his comeback last month and was included in Julian Nagelsmann's squad for friendly matches against France on the 23rd of March and the Netherlands 3 days later as they prepare for the tournament on home soil in the month of June. His return to the national team comes at a difficult time for Germany, who have been struggling in recent matches under Nagelsmann, who took over in the month of September. The Germans kick off the Euros against Scotland on the 14th of June and also face Hungary and Switzerland in Group A.
When the national coach contacted me to inquire if I wanted to play this tournament, of course the most important thing I asked myself is whether I can help the team. I asked myself this question and I think I can answer the question with yes. The national coach believes the answer is yes, and accordingly it was a decision within this framework and not to do any sort of validation. But I do have the feelings that this may also change, primarily via my performances at Madrid. But to be honest, that's not the point at all. I'm interested in whether I can help Germany play a better tournament in their own country that is perhaps currently assumed. Rightly so, after last few years, we cannot keep ignoring how things have been going. It is true that mood hasn't been great of late.
Real Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois will be out of action for several weeks after a tear in his right knee during training. The 31-year-old Belgian international had been expected to return to Real squad after a tear in his left knee last August. He also underwent an MRI scan later on Tuesday that confirmed the damage to his right knee. It's now time to take a short break here on DD India Sports Bus, but still to come. International Olympic Committee says Russians and Belarusians athletes not to be able to take part in the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics. La Liga club Osasuna deny racist chants by their fans during the 4-2 home defeat by Real Madrid.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, DC.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Sports Bus with me, Deepika. Well, Brazilian soccer player Daniel Alves on Tuesday requested his release from prison pending the confirmation of his sentence for raping a woman in a Barcelona nightclub. The 40-year-old told the court that he would not flee, but the prosecution argues that he remains a flight risk. Last month, Alves was handed a 4.5-year prison sentence for raping a woman at the Sutton nightclub in the Catalan capital in 2022. Alves plans to appeal this sentence and wants to be released pending its confirmation. The court is set to make a decision on his release shortly today.
We have to wait for the ruling. Nevertheless, Mr. Alves has said that he won't ever run from justice, that he will still believe in justice and that he will wait until the final ruling.
The defense lawyer asked in November for the provisional release from prison. The court did not grant it because it believed that there was a flight risk. 3 months later, I believe that the situation is the same. Even more, when there is a sentence for the crime of rape, when there is evidence of rape. So for me, the risk now is even greater.
In Women's Champions League first quarterfinal round, Lyon, who are the record 8-time champions, came from behind to beat Benfica by 2-1, while Chelsea ultimately eased to a 3-0 victory at Ajax to close in on a second straight appearance in the last four of Europe's top competition. Benfica had started strongly with Andrea Falcon having an attempt tipped onto the bar before Faria's goal. But Delphine Cascarino equalised before Germany midfielder Sarah Tepritz headed the winner in the 79th minute. On the other hand, Chelsea ultimately eased to a 3-0 victory at Ajax to close in on a second straight appearance in the last four of Europe's top competition. Ajax placed in front of 400 fans in their last match, but a Dutch record 35,997 turned out for this tie and were buoyed when Ajax's all-time leading goal scorer Romy Lakshya curled against the far post from outside the area, making way for Chelsea's first Champions League victory, who are also chasing a quadruple of major trophies in coach Emma Hayes' final season in charge. La Liga club Osasuna have denied that there were any racist chants from their fans during the 4-2 home defeat by Real Madrid last weekend. Real Madrid have filed a complaint against the referee who handled Saturday's game at El Sadr Stadium for not including in his match report alleged insults aimed at their Brazilian forward Vinicius Jr. The capital club also confirmed this on Monday. Osasuna also acknowledged that a small number of their fans insulted Real players and condemned their behaviour. And now an update on ice hockey. Belarusian former pro ice hockey player and boyfriend of tennis player Arina Sabalenka, Konstantin Kolstov, died in an apparent suicide on Tuesday. Miami-Dade police said they had responded to a call on Monday at a Miami resort about reports of a man jumping off a balcony. They had said that there is no foul play. The former forward, who was 42 years old, played for the Belarus national team in 2002 and 2010 Olympics and spent parts of 3 seasons with the National Hockey League's Pittsburgh Penguins from 2002 till 2006. His death was confirmed by Russian club Solovet Yulev, where he was an assistant coach. Sabalenka, the world's #2 ranked women's tennis player and Australian Open champion, is in Miami for a women's WTA event. Sabalenka and Kolstov were first linked in June 2021, according to People's Magazine, and the world #2 has frequently posted photos of them together on her Instagram account. Now, Kolstov also applauded Sabalenka after the Belarusian won her second consecutive Australian Open title in January. And we wish Sabalenka all the power to play in her upcoming games. Moving on, as per the latest statement released by the International Olympic Committee, Russians and Belarusians will not be able to take part in the parade of athletes at the opening ceremony of the upcoming Paris 2024 Olympic Games, which are scheduled to take place in the month of July this year. Well, the Russians and Belarusians who will be competing as individuals, neutral athletes or AINs under a specially created flag and with an anthem without lyrics produced by the IOC will not be a part of that parade. Further to this, the athletes from the 2 countries who qualify for the Games will be competing as independents without their flags and anthems.
The Paris ceremonies were discussed by the IOC Executive Board, and the following principles were established. AINs will not participate in the parade of delegations, teams during the opening ceremony, since they are individual athletes, but an opportunity will be provided to them to experience the event. This is the same scenario that was used for independent Olympic participants at the Olympic Games in Barcelona in 1992 for athletes from the former Yugoslavia. Secondly, a decision regarding the participation of AIN in the closing ceremony in Paris will be taken at a later stage, taking into consideration that not all teams that enter the closing ceremony, but it's more all athletes joining together. Thirdly, during the victory ceremonies, an AIN flag will be flown and the AIN anthem will be played should an AIN athlete win a medal. a flag for AIN has been approved and an anthem has been approved. The anthem has no lyrics and has been produced solely for the purpose of the AIN in Paris. The IOC-EB also agreed the medals won by the AIN would not be displayed on any NOC medal table.
Well, the IOC suspended the Russian Olympic Committee in October for recognizing regional Olympic councils for Russian-occupied regions of Ukraine, Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporizhia. Earlier on Tuesday, the IOC also criticized Russia's plans to host their own Friendship Games later in 2024, saying it was politicizing sport and violating the Olympic Charter. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Wednesday that the International Olympic Committee's decision was unjust and unacceptable.
Решения МОК являются неправомерными.
The IOC's decisions are illegitimate, unjust and unacceptable. We are outraged by the unprecedented discriminatory conditions imposed by the International Olympic Committee on the Russian athletes who compete in an individual so-called neutral status, who are essentially forced to renounce any association with their homeland, their citizenship, their history, culture and their people. With such actions, the IOC, which should on the contrary develop world sports, actually splits and politicizes international sports movements, succumbing to a certain group of states and actually acts as a tool of unfair competition.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Sports Buzz. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can also connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika Mehta, and from all of us here in Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Sports Buzz. Namaskar.